Hi. We're going to run through some of the customizations that we did with the delivered SIA dashboards. I'll be talking about modifications that were made to the dashboards, to the analyses, and also some of the subject areas that are currently not quite ready. And then we'll go on to the uh, the dashboards made from the ERSS CSU extension subject area. So I'm going to start out first on the executive overview dashboard. And for those of you that have seen the delivered dashboard from Oracle, you'll notice that there is much less on this. We removed those elements that weren't ready because they're the subject of modifications that we've requested through service requests. Two important subject areas are the admissions funnel and the institutional summary, and those were removed from this dashboard. But before I get to that, I want to talk about the links over on the side here. So the internal links go to areas within the dashboard, and then there are also links to other dashboards. And then there are these external links. As delivered, these went to project pages about the common data set, about the college portrait, and about iPads. And we thought it was more appropriate to link to an institution's own page with the actual data. So the common data set here, in the case of Monterey Bay, goes to our institutional assessment and research page with all of the historical common data set reports. Similarly, iPads from NCES doesn't go to a page talking just about what is iPads, but goes to California State University Monterey Bay's iPads page. And we recommend that the other campuses do the same thing. Now, returning to the data that come directly off of the subject areas in the Oracle SIA and the extensions that were built for CSU subject areas, we kept only one that appeared on this initial page, which is student class enrollment by career. And as I go through, I'm not going to show all of the options due to time, but there's always a table accompanying the graph, and we default to showing the graphs. This is class enrollment, so each student can appear multiple times per term if they're enrolled in more than one class. And this data was validated, and we saw that this is correct, and is coming from the class enrollment subject area, which has been used in a number of other places, and I'll mention those as we go to it. As delivered, this page at the very top had a number of performance indicators, and we removed all of these because they were based upon subject areas such as the admissions funnel and institutional summary that are undergoing ongoing development and are the subject of service requests with Oracle. Next, we'll go to the admissions page. This, as delivered, was called recruitment. As we do not use PeopleSoft for our prospect and recruitment functions, we removed all of the analyses that related to prospects and recruitment and renamed this admissions. We also removed anything based upon the admissions funnel. As I said, that subject area is undergoing review. But the admissions applications subject area, upon which this report is based, was fine, and we were able to retain this graph and the accompanying chart here. This provides trend data. One thing that I should mention is we froze our data for the purposes of this project in April. So the 2014 data, as we go through these, will appear to be anomalous, and that's because you're only seeing a partial picture of the fall application, admission, and enrollment data for 2014. Continuing on to student records, there are a number of analyses included in this dashboard as delivered, and we modified every single one of these. First of all, there are the student profile by personal attributes, both for the year selected and for for the trends. And you'll notice that we modified the title of this to say with academic load. As delivered, this comes off of the student car term table in PeopleSoft and included students that were eligible to enroll, were activated into that term, but never signed up for any classes. We thought that was an inappropriate way of showing enrollment. So we limited this to students that had some unit load. But this is not exactly what we wanted to show either. And we have an SR into Oracle about modification here. Because one thing that this does not account for is students that are enrolled in non-credit bearing classes. This is particularly true in the extended ed colleges and careers. But for what is described here, students with academic load, this is pulling correct data. And it can be viewed by gender, marital status, military status, or ethnic group. These were the delivered view by categories, and we decided to keep them. But the ethnic group dimension was modified so that it would roll up into less categories. As delivered, there were 30 or 40, maybe 50 different categories of ethnic groups, which is not very useful. So this is now rolled up to a higher level. So we have maybe 8 or 10 different categories of ethnic groups. And the exact same view bys are available in the personal attributes trends, where we see the current year and the previous 5 years of data. And that is all controlled by a year selector up at the top. There were 2 additional dashboard pages available in the executive overview. They were student financials, which we've put off for the time being so that we can have our subject matter experts evaluated. Right at the end of the fiscal year, we determined was not the best time to ask them for a thorough evaluation and correction of their data here. And there was also a page that covered retention and graduation based upon the institutional summary subject area. As that subject area is being reworked, we removed it for the time being, as it was pulling data that did not match up with our own calculations. The second dashboard from the delivered and modified data that I'm going to talk about today is admissions and recruiting. And much as for the recruiting page of the executive overview dashboard, we modified this to remove prospect data, as we are not collecting that data in PeopleSoft. And we also removed the admissions funnel because that subject area is being reworked undergoing a service request with Oracle. And there was also a page called admissions evaluation, and we set that off for the time being so that we could get the subject matter experts from our admissions department to give that a thorough once-over. But what we do have here is the application data based upon the admissions application subject area. And this corresponds in terms of presenting the personal attributes and the personal attributes trends to many of the categories that we saw in student records. One that you'll notice is missing here is ethnicity. For consistency, we think that should probably be added. But these work the same way, and this is on the basis of applicants. So we have data here simply in the applicant's subject area. The applications are also broken down by the top 10 programs. And here's where we have a drill down. So we have the academic program, undergraduate baccalaureate, which encompasses our baccalaureate majors. And then we can click on that to get down to academic plan, which is the actual majors. And then we see the numbers of applications have been broken down for that as well. Now we'll return. And this includes the top 10 programs. We don't have that many more than that in terms of academic programs, but we do have a link that will show us this data with all of the academic programs as I wait for that to come up. Some institutions may have much more than this, and this is basically a demonstration of how we can limit what is being presented on the main page to something digestible on the dashboard that doesn't require too much scrolling down, but have a guided navigation to go to the full records. The final dashboard that we modified for this purpose from the SIA data and the SIA delivered dashboards was for student records. And we begin this dashboard with two that are based upon the class enrollment subject area. So this is about students enrolled in classes as delivered. But we modified this one at the top left to actually talk about courses. As delivered, Oracle gave us class numbers, formerly known as CRNs for those who speak Banner, which are 5-digit numbers that represent each class section. And for the target audience of this dashboard, we didn't feel that was appropriate. We changed this to, in fact, roll up those classes into courses and then give a number, a catalog number, and a subject abbreviation. So we thought this would be much more useful for seeing what courses are getting the most enrollment. And using the same data, we have the enrollment that is rolled up into academic organizations, which are equivalent to departments. And then that goes up another level into academic groups, which are colleges. And we can see the table that accompanies that. Now, at the bottom of this page, we have, based upon the student headcount off of student card term, we modified this enrollment in two ways. Again, we have the with academic load excluding students who are not enrolled in any units. That would include students who are eligible to enroll and did not sign up for classes. As I mentioned before, we'd like to further modify the subject area to allow us to include students who are signed up for non-credit classes. We also decided that the chart as presented was a bit simple and could provide us some more information. So we added a further breakdown by class level, which gives us this color banding that we see here. Now, returning to the top of the page, we also made a modification to the prompt up top. Academic group can represent a college, and this was not populating properly as delivered. So we made some modifications to how the various elements of the prompt interact with each other, and by this prompt up at the top so that academic group would populate. Previously, it is dependent upon the other elements here in the prompt, and dependent upon the academic career and so forth being populated in the academic group setup table. We also modified the two analyses at the top of this dashboard to allow for us setting the college and then propagating that limitation into these subject areas. So as I made this change, you'll notice that we have a much shorter list of departments, and actually some of the top enrollment courses dropped out of here. We no longer see anything coming from environmental science or mathematics because I selected our arts, humanities, and social sciences college, and now we're seeing just courses from within that college. There's a guided navigation here as well to class enrollment details. And this one actually goes down to the class and class section level. And we decided to retain this here in the subject area as in our current implementation of EPM, formerly known as Hyperion Workspace. This is our most popular report at Monterey Bay, being run by our users some 3,000 to 4,000 times per month. So we definitely want to include that information in our rollout. Continuing on enrollment units, there were a number of analyses provided here that we did not find particularly useful. In fact, we retained only one of these, which was the units taken analysis, and it's based upon the academic year, academic term. It can be broken down by academic group, academic load, or academic program. This is simply providing a distribution of the units across, broken down by whatever has been selected. The other analyses provided on here did the same thing for units passed and units in progress. Just a distribution by such things as academic load or academic group, which we do not find to be very useful. For the units taken, it is of some use because, as we can see, as one might expect, the units taken by students enrolled in full-time account for the vast majority of the units taken. When San Marcos was at Monterey Bay, they actually developed this units passed analysis that we see at the bottom here, which takes the same elements from the subject area, but also provides a pass rate. And as you can see, we have extremely high percentages of units being passed here, regardless of how we break it down. We have the same categories, and we provide the units taken for GPA, units passed for GPA, and then simply the percentage of units passed over units taken. Continuing on, there is a degrees page. There was a lot more on this degrees page, but there were some issues with it that are the subject of current service requests. And we also had some data issues regarding the way that we at Monterey Bay have coded our degree honors. So we removed everything that included degree honors, and we also removed those elements that were the subject of ongoing service requests. But we do have the overall degrees awarded as a pie chart broken down between the bachelor's and master's degrees, and also the exact numbers are presented here. And this is subject to a prompt that we see at the top here. Finally, we have term enrollment demographics. And this is based upon the same sort of categories that we've seen before to break down the enrollment headcounts by gender, marital status, military status, and ethnic group. At the left, we have the personal attributes with academic load again for the year selected. And at the right, we have that same information, but for academic attributes. So in the academic attributes, we have such things as academic level, academic group, and academic load. Below each of these, we see the trend of those same categories over the current year and the year selected, that is, and the previous 5 years, displayed in two different ways. At the left, we've used a bar chart, and at the right, we've used a line chart just to show some more options that are available. And then at the bottom here, we have student profile by academic career, which is just a roll-up at our highest level, showing the counts. And all of these are based upon the student card term subject area, with that caveat that this is only for students that are enrolled in non-zero units. Again, we would like to be able to accommodate students that are enrolled in non-credit units, but still exclude students that haven't signed up for any classes in the particular term. And at the very bottom here, we have a guided navigation to student enrollment details, which is basically going to give us a much finer level of detail. Basically, the students are being broken down by all of these different categories that we've seen on the academic side. So we have academic load, academic organization, plan, career, group, and academic level with an enrollment count for that specific row that have been in the previous page aggregated up to the next level. You notice that academic organization is not populating here. And this is actually the subject of an ongoing SR with Oracle. And it has something to do with Oracle's logic relating to future effective dates. That is, for changes to data that will happen in the future, but we haven't hit that date quite yet in the system date. In other words, we planned ahead, and it is breaking the way in which this is populated. We have recommended that Oracle make a global change, since effective date is used over and over in PeopleSoft tables. Continuing on, now we're going to look at some dashboards that were developed from the ERSS subject area. So this was an extension developed by our team based upon enrollment reporting system student staging table, along with some dimensions coming from some custom tables, some other CSU and PeopleSoft tables, and in some cases integration with existing SIA subject areas. So we're going to start here with enrollment fast facts. This is currently a daily report that goes out to VIPs at Monterey Bay, and we're sending this as a series of PDF attachments to an email, and this goes out to the president, vice presidents, the deans, and so forth. So our first step was to try to create an equivalent report and then to enhance it beyond what we're currently providing. So our report is a breakdown of head counts for the term selected, and then it's broken down by number of demographic characteristics. So we have a breakdown by gender, by ethnic group, by student type, by major, by region. And I'll mention that in developing this, I used a series of custom tables that we built at Monterey Bay several years ago. And these tables are maintained from within PeopleSoft in a series of pages there. Monterey Bay has shared our PeopleSoft project along with the functional specifications and other documentation for it with the other campuses. And we suggest that you consider implementing this or something similar to this as having these custom tables predefined really expedited the process of building this and a number of subsequent dashboards based upon the ERSS data. So I started off at this point, but I want to provide something that we have not had before, and that is to give each of the deans the ability to see their students and their students alone and how they break down demographically. So we have a prompt up here for college, again based upon our custom table. I'm going to select just one of the colleges, so I'll select the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. And once I apply that, you'll see, once it applies, you'll see the numbers change. So we have far less majors showing up here, and all of the numbers have gone down. Now you notice that under the majors we have a total of 1634, but we have 1635 in the other sections. And that is because we have a pivot table prompt here for student type that allows us to choose between the relevant student types. Post-baccalaureate and undergraduates are the only ones showing here because this college does not have any master's or credential programs attached to it. If I had chosen a college with those, you would see them as well. We decided to include this sort of prompt just to limit the number of rows of data being displayed. That's particularly the case when we're talking about undergraduate and post-baccalaureate, which may repeat the same 20-some majors. So that one other student can be found in the post-baccalaureate, and turns out it's a student majoring in Spanish. And we're providing both the numbers, the unduplicated headcount for that term, and the percentage of the total headcount being displayed there. The indicator, state student indicator, gives us the ERSS, stateside, state-funded term, and then the special sessions course student indicator would give us the other side, which gets reported annually under the self-support or special sessions SERSS. So this dashboard can be used for either one of them and for any of the terms. So we can select the year in which that term occurred. This is a calendar year, and the specific term. So I may return to showing all of the colleges just by choosing all column values, which is our default as we saw. One other thing I should mention and this will be particularly relevant for the deans, is when they have chosen a college, they can save that as their customization. That way, by default, when they come here, they'll initially just see their college. So let me continue to the next dashboard. This is also something that we are sending out every day as an email attachment to the VIPs. And this includes the full-time equivalent, the headcount, state units attempted, and state term units attempted, the average for that particular group, broken down by resident status group and by student level. So this is going to be important to be able to distinguish between those students that are using up our FTE allotment from the CSU. That is, they are California residents or eligible for paying fees as California residents. And eventually, we will have a drill down from this resident status group into the specific residence category. So the residents of California would break down into regular residents of California, but also those students that are in a specific category, such as they get to pay in-state fees because they're in the military or some other special category such as that. And similarly, the non-resident, not a resident of California, will break down into from another state or foreign. Continuing along, we took the same data and we are here looking at undergrads in the state term in the RSS and went to look at some of the other functionality available in the product. So in the first section here up at the top, we have performance tiles, which just give an executive a very quick view of what is the number. So here we have a headcount number, we have a state FTEs number, we have remedial units taken, sometimes called developmental units or pre-collegiate units. At Monterey Bay, these are the Math 98 and 99 and the Writing 95. And then we have lower division units, upper division units, and graduate units. Again, this is for undergraduates, so some undergraduates are actually taking graduate units, but not nearly as many as are taking units in the other categories. And then when we go down, we can see some of the other breakdowns, and we have graphs accompanying the tables, and for each one of these we have a pivot table to go along with it. We have a breakdown by class level. We have a breakdown by the headcount. I also included the table displaying by default because with so many categories, I think tabular data is really the way to go. We have a breakdown by sex and a breakdown by ethnicity. Utilizing our custom grouping tables, we also have a roll-up from ethnicity into a chart that is a simple division of underrepresented minorities and non-underrepresented minorities. Underrepresented minority, as we define and can easily maintain in our custom grouping table, is Latinos, African Americans, and Native Americans. So continuing along, the same data, we have a page of first-time freshmen. And in this, I did a series of panel pie charts by college. So you'll notice that we don't have a prompt for college here because this would become a lot less useful if we're only seeing the data for one college. What this allows us to do quickly at the visualization level is to, for example, see how the colleges compare in the demographic breakdown by sex. And we see SMART, which is our STEM college, has 57% female versus College of Professional Studies, which is 64%, and College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, which is 65%. So as one might expect, there's a lower percentage of females in making up the headcount of the STEM college, but still it's a majority. And similarly, we can see these comparisons by region, where Tri-County is concentrated relatively in the College of Professional Studies. And by ethnicity, we see a similar sort of thing, where we can quickly, through the visualization, see the breakdown as compares between the colleges. And for each of these, there is an accompanying pivot table. For the majors, there simply are too many majors for a pie chart to make any sense, so I just did a simple bar chart, and there's an accompanying pivot to go with that. Finally, on this dashboard, we have a facsimile of the enrollment planning and reporting report that the Chancellor's Office in years past has required institutions to provide. I think they have discontinued that requirement, but we've continued producing this report for internal campus constituents. And this relies upon our custom grouping tables again. And we are providing the information for a particular term as selected for the state session, broken down by the resident status group and by the student type on this side. On the right side, it's broken down further by cohort type, only for those that are new students. And so we have our first-time freshmen, we have our transfers, we have our first-time students in the post-baccalaureate, graduate, and credential categories. And then we provide the same information for state FTEs. The next one I want to show you is for academic program review. At Monterey Bay, we have an academic program review manual that is published by Academic Affairs, and on a cyclical basis, all of the majors and some other programs go through a review, both internally and often with external reports being produced. Institutional research, which is called Institutional Assessment and Research at Monterey Bay, provides a data pack for each of these academic units and performs a workshop to show them how to use this data. So we have provided much of that information as can be provided off of the ERSS subject area. Here we have, at the very top, we have a chart that breaks down the headcount by term, by student level, and then we have a tabular version of that, along with the tabular version which breaks down into underrepresented minority and ethnic group. And we have a breakdown by sex at the bottom there. At the top, we can actually choose a major. So I'm going to choose biology here. And this will allow the colleges and the academic departments to be able to see their data at any time they wish. They don't have to wait for their chance in the cycle to get their academic program review data. Here we see just the same information for those who are biology majors as in ERSS. We also have provided GPA data, and this is coming off of SIA. This is still under development, but this page will include data for a major. Again, we'll have a selection of the major that comes off of the term enrollment subject area. And then finally, as developing a data warehouse is a long-term process, and we're not going to have everything put together immediately. This is an example of where we're able to present legacy data from a legacy application right in the dashboard itself. This application and these data do not exist within the data warehouse. This is coming off of a separate database and a separate application that Institutional Assessment and Research developed following a model that was put together by CSU Dominguez Hills, and our executives liked the way that was displaying this information. So we developed an application to simulate that, and we're storing these data outside of the data warehouse. And some of this data is actually coming from our legacy system banner off of the census tables, none of which were loaded into PeopleSoft when we migrated in 2008. So at least for the definitions of the cohort, we're going to be using this legacy application for the upcoming future. But this is presented to you as more of an example of how you can integrate external applications and external reports with a single place for your executives and other users to go within the data warehouse. And then finally, I want to show a dashboard that we built off of SIA data. Rather than modifying SIA data, there was another report that was attached to that daily email to executives that we try to replicate here. So I'm going to go ahead and select for fall 2013, since as I mentioned, given our freeze of the data in April, our fall 2014 data is very much partial. So we're going to load this, and once it decides to load, we're going to see a summary of the course enrollment. So this is instructional activity occurring at any place within the university. So this is a global look, and we have a total FTEs number, and we have a units taken number. You notice this does not say state FTEs. This includes even our self-support programs in such as extended ed. Down below in the chart, we have a breakdown between the non-state supported session and the state supported session. And we just did this division using session code, but there's actually a CSU term course funding mapping table that would be more appropriate here. That just has to be extended into the class enrollment subject area. And again, as always, we have a pivot table to go along with this, which gives us a bit more detail once it shows up. The current table that we provide in the email, given the space that we have to fit it into just one printed page of a PDF, just goes down to the academic organization and department level. So we've gone one level below that to the subject, and we have subtotals. Now this would be a lot more informative if the academic organization was populated. And this is the subject of an ongoing SR with Oracle, and we believe it is not populating because of some incorrect logic Oracle incorporated in regards to the treatment of future effective dates. So once that is fixed, we'll have essentially our college, our department, and our subject, with both the non-state supported and the state supported FTEs and the percentage of FTEs within that category, along with subtotals and a grand total at the bottom. We have other reports in development, but this gives you a brief survey of what we've been able to produce, both in modifying the delivered SIA dashboards and also developing on the brand new subject area of the ERSS data. Thank you.